evening. Good evening. How's everyone doing?
Hey,
We're back from our trip from the Amalfi Coast, but we brought our cocktails, our beverages with us. You know, cheers, queers.
Cheers.
Hallelujah. So, and what flavor was this again?
This is the black.
The black. Okay.
Right. Listen, that's the B in the BGKH.
Yes, that's why. That's why.
It's the black. Right. It's the black. Like, I mean, come on. It's the B for the blacks.
And so what's the G for?
I mean, the G is for the gulp that I'm taking from this class right now. Because this is some good shit. This is what the G is for.
And the K is for the kids, because the kids will fucking live for this. And the H is because we are all human. You know, listen, you know, I'm black and gay, so I know how to. Listen, bitch, I know how to dance with a drink.
Listen,
never let that level
fall,
switch.
but you better not drop that liquor. You better not drop it.
Right. So yes, welcome to the BGKH Show. Today is Wednesday, October 7th, 2020. I am Dominion.
I am Epic.
And it's been a good week. Well, it's been a week.
It has
been 7 days.
It's been 7 days.
It's been that.
But you know,
yeah.
But for the most part, it's been a good week for you, bad week for you.
It's been a weeky week.
A weeky week. Okay. Well, all right. Last week was just this week was just a week. Okay.
Yes, I mean it wasn't terrible. You know, it was a week. It was a week that was. You know, there was lots of you know, was still job stuff. Like I realized I got so many job irons in the fire till I'd be like, oh yeah, whatever happened to that one? You know, the shit never happens right away. And then of course everything happens at the last minute. Like I told the dude from the one job.
Oh, hey KG.
With Redacted Bank.
Oh.
He texted me or he emailed me, and for some reason his words printed or showed up on my screen in a vertical line. So like hello was like HELLO space HOW space ARE. And so I'm like, what the fuck? So that already tells me how this, or you know, it's because you are a Fortune 50 company, you know. So we'll see. But anyway, so he's like, so when are you available in the next couple of days for an interview? And, you know, so I'm not working, and since I'm not getting up early. So I was like, I'm available between 10 and 4 every day. So then he emails me back. He was like, okay, so we have 3 interviews for you scheduled starting at 8:30. I was like, I said
10 and 4.
But, you know, listen, I don't have a job. So there we go. Okay. So I have 3 interviews back to back on Zoom this coming Friday.
So are these 4? So I always hate Friday interviews. I don't know what it is. And I've had this superstition in my head about Friday, like you're finishing out the week, you're the last person that's come in, or one of the last people coming in for an interview. Yeah. And I just feel like it's just kind of the wrong place to be in as far as the interview is concerned.
Well, it's 8:30 in the morning. So there's one at 8:30, one at 9, and one at 9:30. So we'll see how that happens.
Okay. Well, I mean, all right. That'll work.
So that was cool.
Good. Best of luck with that.
Thanks.
Would you take it if they offered it?
It is a vice presidency.
Say no more.
At Redacted Bank, one of it's in the Fortune 50.
Okay, so basically yes.
Hell yeah,
that's a yes. Because you know there's some jobs that we've applied for. It's kind of like, oh well, you know,
yeah.
I mean it's a job, and you know, okay, all right, fine, yeah. But okay,
so yeah,
okay,
so
well, all right.
Even if the salary isn't as cute as I would like,
so
it to be
right. So be you know, be available, and you know. You'll be there at 8:20.
I was already
okay.
All I gotta do is roll over. But no, I'm wearing a suit. I mean, it's still a Zoom. It's not a Skype interview. Well, it's not just a telephone call. This is a Zoom interview. So the expectation, at least that I have, is that my camera is going to be on, and you know, I'm not going to be dressed like this. You know.
I mean, listen. Can everybody get into the look today? I want everybody to get into the look. The look is as follows. Gay
short sleeve onesie with
summer onesie because it's a short
summer onesie with a hood
that zips all the way up.
Yes, she goes all Oh, I got the microphone.
Yeah. No, no
Just trust me.
All
it goes all the way up.
We have the rainbow flag and gay accessories to go along with it. We even have some taco meat to go along with. Well, not even taco meat. We don't have taco meat. Let me take that back. We have some man cheese. Fuzz.
This is
string cheese to go along with the look to finish the look.
Yes.
So I mean, this is what we're doing on the runways this fall. Whereas I am, representing my East Compton High School Clovers team because I am here to cheer my girl Kamala on tonight for the vice principal debate. So that's what I'm here for. Bring it, honey.
Oh, it will be brought.
I'm just saying, and we already know that Kamala's going to go. She's going to do the job.
Right. So how was your week?
My week was okay, but it was. Listen, I just started going back to the gym last month, and so I decided to go to CrossFit. I think I've said this 72 times. I hate lifting weights. I think it's the most boring thing ever on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I get so bored. So I took CrossFit class because it gives me the variation that I need and it's interactive and all that good stuff.
Right.
Well, the CrossFit place that I'm going to right now, I don't feel like I'm really, their exercises are like sets of 4 or 5 different exercises, but each exercise has like 2 parts to it. So for me, I have to think about what the fuck this exercise is because there's so many fucking moving parts. It's like, what? So, and one of my things is I hate going to the gym to think. I just want to do it and get out of it and go. Mm-hmm. Even, with stepping.
Sounds like sex.
Well, no, sex, you stay in the pot a little bit. You stay in the pot. But even with like step class and stuff, when I was with the Fab Steppers and doing a demo team for Fitness for Less and all that type of stuff, like even at LA Fitness, like we were just, the routines were like, we just did it. And like, I didn't have to think about it. And so I said that to the trainer and I was kind of like, hey, when are we going to do some more stuff that's more cardio as opposed to this weightlifting? Because I don't necessarily feel like I'm walking out of the gym feeling like I've gotten a workout. And, I said, maybe it's just my mindset from my experience and all that type of stuff. And the gentleman looked at me and he said, well, great question, but you're either on time or you're late every week. And I was like, so I had my mask on. And so, I was trying to pull it together because I was like,
but did you get paid though?
And I said, He said, well, and so when you have questions during the class, there's 11 other people in the class. And so I can't necessarily answer your questions as we go along. And I was like,
oh, so okay. This isn't your personal trainer.
It's not my personal trainer.
Okay. So this is a CrossFit class.
A CrossFit class, but he's a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
So
is this a PF?
No.
Okay.
This is a specifically CrossFit organization.
Got it.
So, and I even said to him, I said, everybody comes into this class, I feel like they are already like American Ninja Warriors. Like I'm watching them work out and I was like, that is amazing. I'm like, call me. Like you lifted that barbell up like that. Call me. So, I mean, it's kind of cute. So I even said that to him. I said, I'm not there yet. I said, so I just want to kind of get back in the swing of things. So when he said that, he said, first, you're either on time or you're late every week. And I was like, okay. Then he said, well, you ask questions, but you ask questions in the middle where you didn't bother to take the time to go through the YouTube videos and actually look at the YouTube videos before class because the workouts are put up every single day. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck would I have to look at the YouTube video and I'm in class with you? That doesn't, I don't. So I pulled it together and I was like, okay.
Awkward. And
I said, all right. And he said, I also don't want to give you heavy weights and not have you go through stuff since you don't necessarily know the techniques. And I don't want you to tear or injure anything. So that's why you've had some of the lighter weights that I've been giving you. And I know you said that there were some mobility issues as far as like feet and knees. And I was like, well, yeah, my toes and my knees, they kind of a little fucked up. But I mean, it's okay. And he was like, so I'm trying to work with all that. He says, but if you start coming to class a little bit earlier, you can ask your questions after you've watched the YouTube videos. And once again, I'm getting pissed off because I'm sitting there saying to myself, why am I paying to be a part of this class to come in here every single month to have to then look at the YouTube video before I come to class to then ask you questions when I get into class?
I mean, I get that there are YouTube videos.
I do too.
There, but I mean, I still feel like are the YouTube videos, if you stop going to the class, would you still be able to access the YouTube video?
No.
How?
Because they put them on their page. So I'm sure I probably would be able to find them at some particular point. Yeah. But there's a planner a reservation app that you use to actually make your reservations in the class every single day. And in that app, they post the workout of what it is. And then you can go through and look at the YouTube videos of them.
All right. So here's what I will say to you. I get your frustration. And I think you're right on one level, but also this is the way that you signed up for it. Now, if this isn't how you want to receive the training, I understand that too. But the method that they have here is that, at least it seems to me from his perspective, girl, I'm always riding for you.
I'm trying to do better. So I just
right. But so I think what it sounds like to me is that he believes that the answers to your questions will be found if you watch the videos and were prepared for the class. Now, if that's not true, then that's a separate thing. But if you haven't watched the videos, can you even refute that point?
So to answer your question, I don't know if I can refute that point or not if I watch the videos, because I can probably look and try to do the form, make sure it's correct. I want
you to look at it from his perspective, but also from your perspective as an instruction leader. When people are supposed to come to the class and they understood that before you come to class, there's work that you should have done before the class. And then when they ask questions and you're like, well, if you had done the work that you were supposed to do before the class started, your question would have been answered.
But that is the first time he's actually said that to me about using the YouTube video before you come to class to look at the workout.
So we're prosecuting this case.
It has been a whole entire month. Okay. And this is the first time since I asked that question. So you thought those
were just like supplemental. If you don't watch them, you're not missing it.
Like they were just supplements on like how to do, like they're talking about the workout on demand and all that type of stuff. Like it was like, all right, fine. It was like, all right, this is extra stuff. I'm going to go to class.
But it also sounds like he could have approached it an entirely different way. He could have just been like, I feel you.
She tried.
But how about you do this instead of being like, you're always late, which is what she was essentially
saying. Is what she was saying. And I was like,
she was saying.
And I'm sitting there saying like, bitch, class starts at 5:45. As long as I'm on my mat and I have all my materials at 5:45, bitch, it doesn't matter. Like, just because I don't get there at 5:15, I'm sitting around talking to people. I don't even know anybody, and I don't even want to. I just want to come and do the workout and roll out.
Right. So she came at it from the wrong way.
Let me be clear. I also listen. If you know me and you love me, but you know I'm going to be late for something unless it is a flight or a movie or a concert. Other than that,
know that I was going to leave that part left unsaid because we already know that.
Other than that, I mean, child, whatever. But anyway, I'm just saying.
All right, so we got like an hour and 15 minutes to get through a ton of stuff. So,
but anyway,
how did that work out then?
I don't know. The class.
Are you going to watch the video?
The class. I go back tomorrow because I go on Tuesday. And he also said about coming more regularly. And when he said, I said, well, I'm thinking to myself, first of all, your price structure doesn't allow me to come 3 times a week like I'd like to. Mm-hmm. Your price structure allows me to come twice a week. And on one of those weeks in that month, I can come 3 times. Yeah, that's one thing. And the other part of that was, this one-on-one instruction, that's another $155 for 4 sessions.
Yeah.
I said, well, wait a minute. Do I just pay the difference and then I get the rest of the month for free? No, that's separate. All right, bitch, are you kidding me? So listen, I'm trying to process this, but it pissed me off. But anyway, other than that, it's been a great week. I can't really, get all upset about anything. Woke up every single morning, so I'm happy about that, and so I'm good.
Woke up this morning,
listen,
feeling kind of down.
I've been able to catch up.
I called on my best friend. She could not be found, but I called on Jesus. My life He can hold. I'd rather have Jesus than silver and gold.
So, He's clowning. He's clowning. Hey, baby boy. I've found season 10 of Walking Dead, so I'm actually on my way to finishing that.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm. It's been a good week. So yeah. But
So yesterday, the slave took me out for dinner, we're now that he lives in the area, fucks the point if we don't try to see each other on a fairly regular basis. So we went out to dinner, and as I discovered,
what did you discover?
Discovered that there is a private a bathroom.
A private
Bath.
Really?
So there's a pool in his building. The pool, a men's locker room, a women's locker room, and a private bath. A handicapped bath.
Oh, it's a handicap bath.
A handicap bath with grab bars and everything.
Grab
but
bars.
When one opens the door, one is now alone in this large space.
Oh, alone in a private bath.
Mm-hmm. With one slave.
Imagine that. Sounds like some foolishness and fuckery was about to go down.
Oh, somebody went down.
And there we have it.
Both before and after dinner. And we went to eat at this place called, we have to go back. It was so fucking good. Casa Tequila over in Alexandria.
Bitch, let me just tell you, when you text message me, and I read that text message back, bitch, you know what your text message said?
What did it say?
Bitch, can you give me, what did you say? Can you give me, you said,
oh,
bitch,
hey, give me a bundle.
A bundle. You get this. I was like, bitch, you want bundles? I was like, bitch, I gotta go buy some hair.
Bundles, bitch, bundles. I got long. Listen.
And when I'm
trying to get my beard to fill out.
When I called you back, you were like, hello.
Because my liver is out of practice. The last time I had a good old fashioned drink. I mean, I've had a cocktail or two since.
Hey, DV.
But the last time I had a good old drink was at MAL. So that's been January, and here we are in October.
Yeah.
So it's been almost 10 months since I've had a good old drink.
So if we were to go to an inappropriate brunch, we would all probably just pass out after like the first pitcher.
Oh, I'm good for at least 2 pitchers, and it was so funny. So we also this weekend was Papa's birthday.
That's right.
Papa Urs. So
happy belated birthday.
And we went to, this is what I wanted to say. And we went to dinner at this place called The Smith on U Street. It's cross street from Alero's.
Okay.
And it was cute, but it was also kind of depressing to me. What was depressing to me was not, because I had a wonderful time with the people that I was with. It was like 6 of us. They had these things called French 75. And initially, I wasn't going to have one because it was made with gin.
That name, throws me. It takes me back when you say French 75.
But this French 75 was a frozen beverage. So immediately, my interest was piqued.
Okay. Made with
gin, champagne, cava, Italian champagne.
Okay.
And lemon juice. That shit was so good. I think I had.
While I'm not a gin fan,
neither am I. But you weren't like gin. I'm out.
Yeah.
So that's what it is for me. It's more so the smell of gin.
It's the taste
and the taste. It's the taste. Let's be clear.
But what's his face? That drink that we had on the cruise, Isu and his Bloody Mary made with gin. I became a fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I became a fan.
I'm still more of a vodka person with my Bloody Mary.
It was pretty good. So.
Yeah, but the part that was depressing to me was, I feel like for me and Papa and his husband and who else was there? My little brother, thing 1.
Mm-hmm.
Or is he thing 2? I can never remember between him and Cortez which one is thing 1 and thing 2.
Lord have mercy, Jesus.
I'm probably going to say that Cortez is thing 1, so that makes him thing 2.
Okay.
So, and this guy named, this other guy, I'm not going to put his name out because anyway, whatever. But while we were having a wonderful time and we shut it down in good old fashioned Onyx fashion, and we got there at 5 and we were just sitting there talking and drinking and partying and bullshitting, and they'd given us our check and we had paid for the check. And then someone else was like, I'm just going to have another round of drinks. So we had 2 more rounds of drinks. So it was all of that. But I was just like, for the people in our party, it was a rare treat to be out of the house. But yes, were there fewer people in the restaurant because of social distancing? But if you just if you sort of, squinted and looked at U Street and the sounds, it felt like no different. And it was depressing to me. I was like, girl, we're never going to get out of this because
people can't sit their
ass down. So again, for us, it was entirely a rare treat to go out and have a meal in public with friends. But it seemed like everybody else was just out partying and bullshitting like a regular old Saturday afternoon. So it was kind of depressing to me on that end because I'm like, girl, we ain't never. I mean, but y'all president ain't about shit no way. Child. This whole, this.
Speaking of that, let's
just get into it. So on Friday, y'all president tweeted that he had the COVIDs, that he had tested. Him and Melania, we ain't heard nothing about Melania. Melania could have died by now.
We still waiting for her to blink twice. Because I really. So let me be clear. This was not news to me. Mm-hmm. Like it was news to me, but it was not news to me. I've refused to even. I'm not. So I'm sorry.
Well, all right. So he said that he had he said it Thursday night. Then Friday, he wasn't rushed to Walter Reed. I have a feeling that he probably should have been rushed to Walter Reed Hospital, but he didn't want to be seen being rushed because he apparently had enough breathing problems on Friday that they were like, girl, you have to go to the hospital now. And if it had been Barack Obama or Joe Biden or anybody else, they'd have been like, fuck the publicity, get his ass to the hospital right now.
Yeah.
So he was probably in that picture of him slowly tippy-pausing it to Marine One. He should have been on a stretcher. They should have been rushing his ass to it. And that probably took it because he didn't want to appear weak or whatever. Then his dumbass decided to go out and do a loop in the presidential limo, exposing people in the limo.
In a limo that is hermetically sealed, mind you.
Right.
So every motherfucker in there is breathing the same exact everything.
And the fact, masks only work if you are like in an open, like we're all in a grocery store, you got COVID, the chances of me getting infected are still relatively small unless you're breathing right on me because there's space and air. But if we are in a hermetically sealed bubble and you are blowing your hot, funky, because his breath stinks, his hot, funky orange COVID breath right on me, and that's all is being circulated in this little bubble, that mask ain't gonna do you a damn bit of good. Unless you had some sort of external air supply that your mask was hooked up with. Then he came back and did this bullshit ass Evita moment on the balcony, COVID, and he was clearly like, if you ever if you ever had even without COVID, like if you ever had the flu or a really bad cold, and you go up the stairs or down the stairs and you try to talk to someone and you just be like, "Oh, bitch, hold on. I can't breathe." You could tell that he was having significant breathing trouble while he was standing there. And so, yes, the deviant, his breath has a color. It does, and it is orange, and it smells like Cheetos, which again smells good on Cheetos but bad on breath. And so there's the first question is, well, for me, the question initially was like, is this even true? I think it can't help be but true because there's too many people
that are
around him that are turning up positive.
Which also brings to light the question: you were recently diagnosed, but how long have you been sick?
Were you COVID? Did you have COVID when you went to that fucking stage?
You know damn well his ass had to have COVID because if he's already had breathing problems at this particular point.
Because if he was negative on Tuesday, that would have meant that he had to have been exposed somewhere between Tuesday and Thursday. Because if he tested positive on Thursday,
right,
then and theoretically he's supposed to get tested every day, which should have also meant that right before that fucking debate, he should have gotten
He should have been tested.
And if he was negative then, that means sometime the debate ended at 10 o'clock.
But he didn't even get tested that day. Remember, that was part of the issue. He did not get tested before the debate.
Right.
That was part.
Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't read that.
That was part of that because I think they got there late and some like that was part of the issue. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember reading that he did not get tested right before the debate.
Mm-hmm. But I think he has. I know what Thomas is saying that I believe he did not have COVID. I didn't think he had it either. I was like, this is all just a stunt to detract or put a shadow on all of the other shit that's going on.
To not talk about his taxes.
Too many people around him have tested positive for me to believe that it's a stunt. And so here's my issue. We can't all just say it's Trump, because I have a friend, one of my fraternity brothers worked for a school system that shall not be named in Florida. He works in the architecture department. He works for the schools or whatever. His daughter was in, it's Florida. They have in-person classes and doing all kinds of bullshit.
Because they're back open.
Some child in his daughter's class tested positive for COVID. So now his daughter has to get tested. They told my frat brother that they still expect him to come to work. And if he needs to and he can't bring his daughter in to work, but if he takes off, then, he's not going to be able to use COVID time off or whatever. And I was like, girl, you work for the school. First of all, why aren't you working at home? And it's like, because they want us to work. These companies don't give a shit. We know for a fact that this is why masks and these things are important, because for those of you all that are out there and away from this, it doesn't matter. But the people that work in the White House are not just Donald Trump, not just Kellyanne Conway, but it's Bob who works in the fucking kitchen. Mm-hmm. It's Maria. And I don't mean Maria because she's Hispanic. I just picked the name out of the air.
Well, Maria
that works,
whatever.
She might be some senior manager. And then Maria lives down the street from me, and Bob goes to the same grocery store as you, and y'all picking up fruit. I mean, this is how shit happens. Yeah. And when, your boss don't give a shit and is breathing all of his breath in your thing, and all of these other people are going to these events, this is how this thing spreads. And this is what's concerning to me, is because those people that work in the White House, they don't live in the fucking White House. They live in the Washington, D.C. metro area. They go to the same gyms. They go to the same grocery stores. They eat at the same restaurants where people are out partying and bullshitting all fucking weekend as the rest of us.
I watch the Planet of the Apes movie.
Which one?
The remake with Caesar. He was a bad motherfucker.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But when they showed the pilot that got on a plane, and they showed the plane, how it landed, and they charted how the disease spread, it was amazing how quickly it spread from one person to the next person, from a flight into a city, from that city to a different location, to another location on a continent and another continent. It was amazing. That's exactly what is going on. And we are never going to get out of this bullshit, like you said, if people are not even willing to invest the time to just sit their ass at home and not do nothing.
I mean, most of these people.
Yeah.
All right. There's really not much else to say about it. All right. So there was a Texas cop that was, because what time is it? So we got an hour.
Yeah. We're trying to get through this as quickly as we can.
So because we need to end before the debate starts. Yeah. All right. So a Texas cop was booked on $1 million for a shooting death of a black man who once defended police in a social media post. A Texas police officer shot and killed a black man in Wolf County, Texas, who was helping to defend a woman who was being abused. And when the police officer, whose name was Sean Lucas, showed up, the guy that died, his name was Jonathan Price. Mm-hmm. He put his hands up. He was like, "Hey, I'm here to help." They tased him. And so you tase a person, and then
got the hands up.
He got his hands up, and you tase him. Then you say they say they shot him because they perceived him as a threat as he was flailing around. Because You fucking tased him. And he died of his injuries at the hospital. So, the police officer, Sean Lucas, was arrested and charged with suspicion of murder. He was booked into Hunt County Jail on $1 million bond. So,
listen, good for you for booking this man on $1 million bond. That says a lot. Now, hopefully this doesn't go as some of these other cases have gone recently where he might get booked and he might get arrested, he might be held, and then he's gotten off on a technicality. But at least at this particular point, that $1 million bond, that's showing that there's some hope, possibly.
I'm not holding out any hope until his ass is under the jail, because this was entirely unnecessary. This person, Jonathan Price, was being a good Samaritan. He was helping out a woman who was being abused, and he showed up and they did everything that these racists say you should do. He put his hands up, he complied, but how can you defend yourself when the weapon that you have on you is the color of your skin? They have tased and shot a psychologist who was on the ground face down while trying to help an autistic child who was having an episode. Yep. They have shot and killed or strangled a person who was selling loose cigarettes. They have killed people under all sorts of suspicious circumstances. And so when I said in the write-up, it says, are there monsters around us? Yes, there are monsters around us. And the monsters work for the police. They work for the State Department. They work for ICE. They work for CBP. They're your president. They're your senators. Speaking of senators, did you see the way that Jamie, whatever the fuck his name is, from South Carolina, tore Miss Lindsay a new one, and not in a way that she likes? Mm-hmm. Child, she got up in that bait, and she started off. She went negative, and he went very negative. He called the Democrats and people on the left idiots and psychopaths and all sorts of stuff. And Jamie Hill, I think his name is, who's running against him, wiped the fucking floor with him with every answer.
I did not watch that debate.
I didn't watch it either. I only saw clips. On Twitter.
Good for you, Jamie Hill, because this right now, I feel like a lot of people are seriously demonizing everything that is on the left, and I don't get it. Like, even I don't remember even the Democrats being so demonizing towards the Republicans. I don't remember it. But then again, I could have this unconscious bias that I literally, but I just don't remember being that bad. And this is becoming a shit show.
I think there are some people who do that, but most people don't on the left. And Jamie Harrison, thank you, Midas. His name is Jamie Harrison, not Jamie Hill.
Okay. Hey, Billy.
The problem is that a lot of politicians on the left are treating Donald Trump and people on the right with humanity. And that isn't being reciprocated. Like hoes, like, oh God, it really ground all of my, thank you, Cardinal. It's a cute little piece. It really ground my gears when
it is from the Gay Man collection.
In the immediate aftermath, I'm matching my paintings, my new art that I got from
the south of France.
The south of France.
South of France. South of France.
Not France.
South of France. I'm sorry.
But when y'all president first announced that he had COVID, all of these Negroes, particularly, I mean, people general, but Negroes particularly, that was like, oh, I'm praying for you and your family. And I was like, you know what? These fucking coons would have prayed that the slave master had a speedy recovery.
I'm praying, but I don't know if you want me to pray over top of you, Mr. Trump.
I'm just, this whole...
I am not even that holy roller religious person, but let me tell you the prayer that would come up out of me. I would call on every ancestor, starting with Maggie Harris all the way up to.
And just this idea on the left that we have to remain civil. I was like, girl, here's the thing. You politics is an ugly game. It's dirty. Power is an ugly, dirty game. And while we don't want you to descend to that level, that doesn't mean that you can't respond. And so you can say, oh, it's unfortunate that the president has COVID or whatever, and just leave it at that. Like even Ava fucking DuVernay, who, I mean, I don't have anything against Ava, but she did that fucking documentary about the Central Park Five. She knows how evil Donald Trump is. And even her ass was posting tweets about, yes, please, about, I hope he gets well soon. Girl, fuck that. I will save my prayers to the extent that I even believe in the power of prayer for, again, Bob and Maria and the Secret Service agents and all of those other people who are the innocent victims of this person's and this administration's selfishness. Because you can 100% believe that if Joe Biden turned up COVID positive, that prayers and all of that shit would not be reciprocated.
Hey, Tyra. I love you, Tyra.
So, on to a slightly more funny story. Well, not slightly, based on the last story, yes.
Yeah. So Cellmate, I cannot pronounce this company's name, so I'm going to say this. It's QIUI. They have a Cellmate chastity cage, and it's sold online for like $190. Well, the problem is it has had, and for any of you that may not know what a chastity cage is, for a male chastity cage, it literally is this plastic or metal cage that goes over the man's penis, and it locks underneath their, it's attached underneath their balls, and basically it stops you from having sex. And it's something that you can lock on, and you can, and most of them will have a literal lock and an opening where you can attach a lock, and the key is being held by that particular sir or dom or key holder or whatever. And sometimes the person who actually is wearing it will have a key for emergency purposes. But again, this is a chastity device, so there's no sex. It's holding it off. Well, this one is a high-tech one that actually literally is it is controlled via Bluetooth. It has been having some issues, and it has been, once it goes on, it's being locked and not being able to get off. So the Sex Toys app has been fixed by a Chinese developer. But again, the problem is that they were saying that one of the people that were helping to figure out what the issue was, Pen Test Partners in Buckingham, they were saying that the problem is that manufacturers of these toys sometimes rush their products to market, and they don't necessarily have the time to test them. Since it wirelessly connects to a smartphone via Bluetooth, the signal can be hacked, and it can be locked so that particular person wearing it with the hacker's Bluetooth signal, they can literally lock it and it cannot be opened. And so you can try as you might, but that thing will not come off. Well, they figured out what the issue is, but they've probably sold about 40,000 devices already. And many people have been able to resolve the problem with the workaround that they've given. However, there was one user that did report that they could not get it off, and they had a very bad scar. And it took probably a month of recovery afterwards to try to get it off. I'm sorry. It took a month of recovery after they took it off because they actually tried to cut through the metal piece of the chastity device.
Alrighty then. So, speaking of monsters, a Black Texas college student awoke to find cops with guns drawn on her after her white roommates pranked her with a 911 call. So if you've heard of this practice called swatting, it's where people all call and make this fake call about, some sort of an issue. And so then the police come to to your house. And, in the era of where, they're just killing Negroes left and right, this could have easily turned into a situation. They killed a woman in her sleep in Louisville. And this was at a Texas university.
We're going to say her name, Breonna Taylor.
Well, no, but I'm talking about this woman's name was Kristen Evans at Stephen F. Austin University in Texas.
Well, no, we're talking about in Kentucky. I was saying.
Breonna. No, I get that. Yes. Oh, I get what you, yes. Yeah. Breonna Taylor. But they killed Breonna Taylor in her sleep. They killed Jonathan Price, which we just talked about, when he was helping someone else and he was complying and doing everything happen. Now, let me tell you how I would jump if, I'm asleep and, something in the presence alerts me to someone in front of me. And I might do like that. Flight, how many of us have, someone has come into your room and awakened you and you've jerked out of your sleep. And then if they had shot her, and then, so if it's up to me, those white students should be expelled. But that's what's to me. But here's what's actually happening. The university hemmed and hawed, and the university, gave some old bullshit ass. The police chief of the university dragged his feet, saying that a racially diverse group of students were involved in an incident involving a false report. The students will be held accountable for this at every possible level. We know. So let's read between the lines, because this is for the people who don't see the shit that's right in front of their face. By saying racially diverse, they were trying to signal that the group wasn't white. Wasn't all white. I don't care. I don't care if it had been a group of Negroes who had done this to this girl. It's the fact that
it was done.
It was done, period.
And then you add on the other layers.
The other layers that most of the people who did it were white. And this girl, Kristen Evans, her parents are civil rights attorneys. So they're good. So, girl, go and get your coins. Withdraw from this university I've never heard of, Stephen F. Austin University. Take your ass to a reputable school.
Take your ass. How about an HBCU? How about that?
Yes, take them hoes for all they're worth, because this was entirely unnecessary. Entirely. And these students are smart enough to know exactly what the fuck they did. And this is, another thing how, I'm sure there are white people, not white people watching this, but white people saying, oh, they were just harmless prank. It's always harmless pranks when white kids do something, but a black child can't even, at 12 years old, can't even be in a fucking park with a toy gun.
Not at all.
But a grown ass man, but a 17-year-old with an actual AK-47 can shoot someone.
Go into a school and shoot kids.
I'm talking about the guy a couple of weeks ago.
I'm just bringing another one up because but we're talking about Columbine. We're talking about the movie theater. We talk like several incidents. We're talking about the kid that was going through, like walking down the street who wanted to be a police officer.
Right. So so fuck all of them.
Yeah.
So this next story, I have feelings about.
Okay, so let's just start with the fierceness of the story.
It was fierce.
Rihanna's Savage X Fenty show. It was on October 2nd.
Does the X usually stand for bi? So is it like Savage bi Fenty? Because I've seen people use the X to mean either bi or with.
So I don't know. I've never heard it. I never heard it being used specifically for bi or with. I don't know.
So what is the X for? I've seen it like even like Beyonce was like Beyonce, but that was when she did that Adidas thing. It was Beyonce X Adidas, and the X was bi. So
we're getting old, sugar, and it is what it is.
It's what the young people.
One of the young people's. Please tell us what that is. That the X is it bi or for? But in any event, the issue was the motherfucking fashion show that Miss Rihanna put on, and I need you bitches to go on to Prime
to YouTube
watch this
or
show.
the Prime, Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime to watch this show. Listen, let me tell you, the fact that Rihanna put on one of the best damn shows that I've seen in a while. And for me, my first time with fashion shows and watching them in a big production was Terry Mugler and with all the supermodels. And so I was actually having this conversation where I was talking to Deviant about this as well, because we were watching some of the fashion shows. Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And they were dancing their ass off. And listen, if any of you have seen the show, my Christmas card is going to now be this. Because they was dancing their ass off in this video. But in any event, she had lots of different versions of sexy, lots of different versions of models represented, body types, everything. So ethnicities as well as religions as well. And I'll come back to that. But the show was fucking amazing. They even had men's stuff in there. Listen, Demi Moore showed up. Yes. I saw Paris Hilton, our girl Shea Coulee, and Jada Essence all showed up. Yes. And Gigi Couture was in the video. Listen, there's plenty of other people that showed up in this video. It was amazing. I even saw, I'm going to say Dexter, but it's Dax that was in the video. One of the big boys that was in the show. And shout out to, listen, I'm going to go ahead and say this on this show, and I need you all to understand this. So one of our viewers is Deviant Onyx, and he had said that some people said that he should have been dancing in this show. I 210% fucking agree. Because if you've never seen him get down, but you don't know,
If you weren't at the
Leatherman of Color
after
party,
it wasn't the after party. It was victory party,
victory celebration,
and his rendition of I think it was Lizelle and E flat.
Yes,
baby.
So all I'm saying, I'm just 210% agreeing with that, but yes. I'm a dash over that. But in any event, so in the show specifically with Shea Coulee and Gigi, there was a song that they actually played. And again, the show got rave reviews, and it's one of the fiercest things that I've seen in a while. But there was a segment of the production set to a musical track that included an Islamic hadith. And please correct me if I'm pronouncing this if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. It's otherwise known as the record of the traditions or sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, revered and received as a major source of religious law and moral guidance, second only to the authority of the Quran, the holy book of Islam, according to Britannica. That's what that piece was. Vocal samples of the hadith have been sped up and layered over a dance track for the song Doom by London that Shea Coulee actually was kind of walking down and voguing to. And it was so funny because they were talking about the juxtaposition of the track under the visuals of like lingerie clad models and homosexuals yes. and drag queens and everything else. And so at this particular point, you know, that whole thing I'm sure was jarring to many Muslims. And so she got a lot of flack for that. People were saying, you cannot appropriate this. You can't do that. And so this happened on the day of the Fenty show, which was October 2nd. On October 6th, Rihanna had spoken, and she was saying she confirmed that she was in fact unaware of the lyrical content of the song used in her show. And she posted an apologetic response to her Instagram stories. And she expressed sincere regret for what she termed a careless mistake. What I'm going to say is, I don't know I've never heard of hadith before, but what I will say from a musical standpoint, the music in the show was great. And when I saw that, I was like, this is like, it was a moment for me that just said, So, but again, that is looking at it musically. And so hopefully that is not offensive because I looked at it musically and I kind of enjoyed what it was, but then now understanding what the meaning and the weight and the gravitas of those words, then yes, I definitely feel that she should have apologized, and she did, and so I apologize on my behalf if that is offensive because I enjoy the musicality of it.
I agree. I mean, it just goes to show you that, you know, appropriation. It was definitely an inappropriate use. It wasn't inappropriate. It wasn't appropriation in the way that, you know, like when white people do it, but it doesn't make it better because it's someone black. It goes to show you that diversity does not just mean having black people in the room.
Say it again for the people in the back that cannot hear it.
Diversity means that you have people of all ethnicities and not racial, but religious whatever. Because I mean,
diversity also includes socioeconomic.
I mean, because
age,
it wouldn't offend me because I don't really believe in religion at all. But I respect those who do. And if someone who was Muslim had been in the room, perhaps they would have been like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
And that should have been, before it even got to Rihanna for this London producer, Cuckoo Chloe. There should have been something there. But I think Rihanna's response was right. It was like, oh shit, I'm so sorry for this and I will do better. And I also don't think she should be given a pass in as much as she still needs to apologize. But I think she should be given more grace than someone else who does it, like L'Oreal, or someone who has a history of, having pickaninny dolls on, or whatever, because she already has a history of inclusion, but there's always still room for improvement.
Yeah. So I with the bitter, with the sweet comes the bitter, and the bitter comes the sweet. So again, I still say if you have the chance to please check it out. I don't know if they're going to take that out of the show portion, if they're going to remix some music of that or whatever. But I definitely say,
what is it? Just like a one-time thing? So I guess it's out there now.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're going to like mute it out, substitute another track or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe they'll mute it out. I don't know. But I feel like you could probably do the same track and just
take out
layer something else into it. Because I mean, I've always thought that not just with Muslim prayers, but there's music that means things to particular cultures.
Mm-hmm.
That just because it doesn't necessarily rise to the level of religion doesn't mean it's appropriate. Like, you hear sort of stereotypical Japanese music or stereotypical Indian or Hindu kind of music. And yes, Hindu is a religion. But my point is that, if you think about these things as we're going forward, it's just as it's not cool to make fun of Black people, neither is it cool like when Madonna wore what is it that the geishas wear?
Kimono?
Yeah, but it was more whatever that she dressed like a traditional geisha.
Okay.
And that was offensive to a lot of people, especially considering the colonial history of Europeans in Asia that still continues to this day.
Mm.
Tyra said, just put a Drake track over it and voila.
Lord have mercy.
All right. So vice presidential debates tonight.
Well, you want to talk about, because let's jump into Lovecraft. We can talk about that before we go into it.
Lovecraft this week, once again, gave me everything I needed. Although if last week was black woman magic, this week was fear of the Black woman, or how, what was it that Malcolm X said, Black women are the most
disrespected.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
disrespected.
There was lines that really resonated with me. Let's just start from the beginning. So if you recall, back in season 2, I think it was episode 2 or 3, when they were playing, when the kids were playing with the Ouija board,
Mm-hmm.
One of the kids, who they called Bobo, said, asked the question, will I have a good time on my trip down south this summer? And the Ouija board said no. And what we didn't, that was the clue, because this show is full of clues and hints that they drop. I'm looking for the quote that I had. What I hate about Twitter, Facebook sometimes is that the posts aren't in chronological order. I was like, so why am I seeing a post from 6 days before a post from 2 days ago? And it was like, this is ridiculous. So Bobo was Emmett Till.
Right.
So
was his
that boy
nickname.
was Emmett Till. They never called him Emmett in the show, but it was in fact actually Emmett Till
Yes.
that was being portrayed. One, Bobo was Emmett Till's nickname.
Yep.
And then they also just literally said that his name was Emmett Till. And so the episode opens with, you know, them all gathered.
Oh, Lola, sorry. Spoiler alert, honey. We get ready to tell
Oh,
you.
yeah, we're about to talk.
We're about to talk about sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lola.
So they are there celebrating the funeral, and you know, Dee, who remember is Hippolyta and George's daughter, is beside herself because Bobo was her best friend.
Yes.
You know, because you remember when kids are young, you know, your best friend might be someone of the opposite sex. It's usually only as you get older that, you know, boys and girls tend to go a little bit of their separate ways.
Right.
So they were still young enough for that to be her best friend in the whole fucking world. And on top of that, her best friend has been murdered, her father has been murdered, and her mother is missing. Yes. So she has no one there to look after her. So she goes and runs away, and these two girls run out of an ice cream shop, and they're laughing and giggling.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lola. Please put the name of your show in here again too, please, because I watched one episode. I did finish too. It, but I watched. So Lola is one of the people that comes on our show, and she watches. She's a longtime fan.
Yes.
And Lola, please put the name of your show in the comments, please, so we can share it with everyone. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine. So she throws rocks at them because she's just so upset that they're out partying and bullshitting, and you know her best friend has died,
and the whole damn town is there because of Emmett's death.
Right, and it apparently that was like the hottest day of the year, and you know it was just like a whole lot going on that day.
Yep.
And then the police officer, you know, that's part of the cult, shows up and puts a curse on her because he's trying to find Hippolyta.
Baby, can I tell you when he put this curse on her, he
spit on her, and I was like,
I said, oh my God. I said, are you getting ready to lube up her hole or something? But what are you getting? It was like, I said, oh my God.
So yeah, so that was So pause from that. And we go, and Ruby has gone back to William/Christina's spot.
Lord have mercy.
And she drinks the potion and turns into a white woman. And we know that that William is actually Christina.
Yes.
And so William has sex with this white woman, Helen, and Ruby busts through that. And so then
while she was orgasming.
So there's a whole lot to cover there about what that means.
For the record, I don't even know if it was disgusting or whether I was turned on. It was so right in the middle for me. I was like, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah.
But it was...
Because it was the blood, like the skin falling off. Not the sex part of it, but the skin falling off while it was going on. I was like,
Oh, okay. So Lola's show is called The Smoke Watches.
Thank you.
GASMOKEWATCHES. So, and I believe, it's on YouTube. So you guys can check that out on YouTube. Yeah, it was weirdly freeing, as Deviant said.
Yeah.
But just so for me, the undercurrent was that, you know, for some of us, I won't say many of us, but for some of us, we long to escape from the violence and horror of being Black by escaping into whiteness. It reminds me of, you remember Whoopi Goldberg's one woman show where she used to be the the little, when she was a little, she had the shirt on her head. I'm a little blonde hair, blue eye, and because she didn't like her hair, she didn't like her skin color. So it was that, but as an adult. So, you know, I bet there probably would be a lot of white people who would drink a potion to be white, if only for a few minutes. But even in the act of gaining that, the reason that she busted through was because she felt terribly guilty for, you know, that she could have this escape. It was like survivor's guilt.
Well,
Like, my people are out here, this is happening to them, and here I am pretending to be a white woman and getting dicked down.
shut up, Tyra. Shut up.
I mean, yes, we do. We all want to be a big-titted white woman with great credit, as Tyra
Oh God.
It was the most magical yet ratchet, nasty, but stimulating moment. It literally was that.
It was all of that. Yeah.
And then, Christina, in typical white woman fashion, it was like, but what's wrong? I've given you what you needed. It was the carrotus thing she could say. And Ruby says to her, I want you to feel guilty for feeling safe. And I remember the day after the Trayvon Martin verdict. And we've talked about this a little bit before, but that sort of encapsulated the way that I felt. Like all of my white coworkers, like that next day, it was just like, hey, you want to go out for lunch? And like all the black people was like,
no.
And it was more than just no, but it was just like, I felt like this little boy died, and here I am, partying and bullshit. That was 2014. So we were planning for blackout. We was getting ready to party and bullshit and have a good time. And, white people were just oblivious that it was even something that was of concern to people. And just, I really felt that. I mean, this really encapsulated how I felt. I want you to feel bad that you feel safe, that you'll never have to experience the idea that you, as a person, that this would happen to, or as a parent, that when your child leaves the house, they might not potentially come back because someone sees them as a threat.
Yep.
This show is just, it's the epitome of Black excellence. It's everything about it. The writing is great. It just touches, and I just feel things on such a visceral level that happens in the show. For me, it is not so far-fetched because all these things are based in truths that have happened or to our family members, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and even some of us at times. Yeah.
So it's very you have a feeling of like an exposed nerve almost, because you're like, I'm exposed, like you see all of me. And so it's very
it's one of the reasons why I was a little hesitant to watch the show at first, because I feel like we're between talking about it on this show and just living fucking life, I hear enough about it. So I'm not into trauma porn, so I don't necessarily need to see all of these representations of it. I mean, like, I loved Get Out, because this is a Jordan Peele thing or whatever, but I just don't necessarily want to see it. But I'm so glad that I overcame that aversion and watched this show, because it's a catharsis.
But bitch, listen, I'm here to tell you, when I walked out that movie theater late that night, I was like,
right.
I was walking to my
white
car,
person
like,
got too close to
I was like, bitch, we're not going to do this. But I feel like that having gone to school in Pittsburgh, which is very homogenous, it's very white and not very progressive at all. And so having had those moments of fighting as a gay man, as a Black gay man, like fighting inside the doorway of a fucking Kogo's in Shadyside, like having those moments where I go outside go out to a restaurant and to be followed in the motherfucking saloon to talk about how I need to go purchase drinks because I'm standing there. And I was like, baby, I just walked in the door. Like, having those moments of like fighting for nothing, it's exhausting. And while I'm about to take a trip to Pittsburgh, I have to literally mentally get myself into that mindset to say, I got to deal with these crazy folks here,
right?
That look at me as if I'm less than, or not as great as they are, or God perish the thought that I'm even better than them at something.
Right. It's so funny that you say that about asking to buy drinks. The first time me and Rod, Hot Rod, went to the Eagle, the very first time when we walked in the door, we hadn't even been there 5 minutes.
Exactly.
And the bartender, who I think it was one of the owners at the time, it was not the owners that we knew.
Okay.
Because this was in 2005.
Okay.
He came up to us and was like, "You gotta buy a drink." And you know, bougie me, I was like, "Bitch, who the fuck are you talking to?" Because I mean, I was not quite in the door.
Yeah,
I'm not quite as you know. I was very bougie then, and I was just like, I don't know what the fuck you. I mean, I knew exactly what he. I'm not stupid, but I was just like, well, girl, how the fuck? What makes you think that me? Because we weren't even leather per se. I mean, I was probably like dressed in after work clothes. So, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with coming and dressed in Tim's,
no, not at all,
or whatever, but I didn't look like, you know.
Lies, Tyra. It most certainly is not. It most certainly is not.
Pittsburgh is Baltimore in a higher atmosphere.
Because let me tell you something, because if it was Baltimore, girl, I know how to function in Baltimore, because Baltimore and Philadelphia are sister cities, and Philadelphia is home. But Pittsburgh is something completely different. And baby, if you haven't been there in a minute, baby, or more than just a visit, baby, no. Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you on that one.
So yeah, so I mean, I get that, and so I'm glad that I took that journey. You know what pissed me off about Christina, right? This episode, what pissed me off this episode,
but listen,
it was a little bit of it gave me. Once I realized what she was doing, it gave me a little bit of hope that she was at least trying. Because after Ruby told her, "You don't understand this, you will never understand it, you're not trying to understand it," she did what historically a lot of white women do when they want black people to feel like they're down. They make some sort of a symbolic gesture that's supposed to prove that they're not racist. Like, you know, you got a black friend at work, and your black friend is like, "I'm so upset about Trayvon Martin," and all this other shit. And then so you said, "Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take 2 of my dresses and donate them to the ghetto." Like, you know, like, bitch, these are $5,000 dresses. You know, these hoes need food. What the fuck are they going to do with these fancy dresses? So it's like an empty gesture that she did. And then so what she did was she hired 2 police officers to beat her up and kill her in the same way, essentially, that Emmett Till was killed. But unlike Emmett Till, she cast a spell of protection on herself so that she was able to resurrect herself immediately thereafter. They literally put the millstone around her neck by a chain. They punched her, they shot her, you know, they beat the shit out of her, and then threw her into the water with the chain around her neck. The millstone drug her down, and then a few seconds later, she comes back up. So that's why I say it's a meaningless gesture. It's like, it's so funny.
Tyra, I didn't know that, so we'll have to talk about that, because, you know, listen, I get crap from somebody. I'm not gonna point no fingers or name no names about going to Duquesne, but yeah, hanging out.
Duquesne is a lovely school.
Hanging out in Duquesne, up and through Duquesne, going to a couple of the bars. One of my friends, his aunt owns a bar up in McKees Rocks. Baby, I have drank down, and I have partied down, and I've been tipped down, I've been tipsy down, and I love the city for that.
So what I felt like, there was, if you watch Star Trek, The Next Generation, there was a scene where Q, who is the omnipotent being, he gets cast down from the Q, and he's mortal. And he's always been like a mischief to the crew of the Enterprise. And so he goes there because he's thinking that they're going to protect him. And he says, "What do I have to do to make you people believe that, you know, I'm actually on your side?" And Worf, the Klingon, says, "Die." So that's like, for me, for Christina, I was like, "Well, girl, if you're really down with it, then you should die." So, but anyway, all right. So we get to that, and then them 2, the Topsy twins, baby. I am not a person that has nightmares, but if I did, I would fucking have nightmares behind that shit.
The 2 little girls who played those girls, it was so funny to me, because it was. You saw the coonery or the buffoonery that they were trying to portray, but then you also saw the the dancing and the hip hop and the crunk but then you saw the creepy and the scary and the eerie all at the same time. Those two little girls brought those Topsies to life. And I'm not even sure if it was Topsy 1 and Topsy 2, because I know it was Topsy was the black girl, and the white girl was the opposite. I'm not sure if it was two of Topsies or if it was the black girl and the white girl.
Yeah.
But those two little girls brought that character to life, and it was creepy and eerie all at the same time, and it was scary, but it was truthful, and it was they did that. They were just
and it was again, layers on layers on layers of symbolism that she was being haunted by the very caricature of what white people thought that she was, because those characters are based in minstrel shows and whatever, and this is what white people thought about black people. So the thing that's literally haunting you is what other people think of you. So I thought that was interesting too. We also find out that Atticus knows that Letty is pregnant.
Yes,
because he found out when he went to the future. He jumped through that portal. He got this book called Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, somebody put it in his hand, he said.
Right. And the book was written by his son.
Right.
In the future.
And his son's name was George.
His son's name is George. And so that is interesting. And then the episode ended when Montrose puts a spell on Atticus. It's a spell of protection.
Yes.
And Atticus goes to see Letty. Oh, forgot that old girl from Jahi showed up. The girl from Korea.
Oh yeah.
And that's how Letty finds out that they used to have a thing. And he was, I understood both of them. He was like, because before all of this shit happened, that shit that happened in Korea was some shit. And who the fuck are you gonna tell about that shit?
But at this point, since they had gone through all of this, it's kind of like I saw her point where it's like, you could have told me, but he'd have been like, well, how the fuck would you believe me? But you've already been through all these different things since you've been here.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also still something you're trying to not think about.
Well, yeah, this is true.
Plus, now you with this new woman, and so you want to be like, I fucked this. Not only did I fuck this Korean girl, I was in love with this Korean girl who also happens to be a monster.
Yeah.
So he shows up to Letty's house because the police have shown up, and they try to get into.
Okay, Belladonna.
They try to get into Letty's house, but remember, she still got that spell of protection on her house.
And he said, "Boo."
Right, and then so now they're shooting up the place, and Atticus runs up, and they're getting ready to shoot him. In fact, the bullet has left the gun.
Yes,
to shoot him, and then his Shoggoth.
Is that what he's called?
It was the Shoggoth. Yeah, okay. The vampire creatures that killed all the white people in the second episode.
Yeah,
when they were out in the forest. Before they showed up at the house?
That was the first episode.
Well, the first episode.
Yeah. No. But I got you. Yeah.
He shows up and kills all of the cops.
Yes.
And that's how the episode ends.
It was a lot.
It
was a lot. And I'm going to have to actually watch it again, but it was a lot.
I feel like after the series,
you have to just watch the whole thing all over again.
It ended up, it's going to be like, I'm just spend the afternoon. Just now that I sort of know what to look for. Because I'm one of those people, like, if I really like something, I don't mind watching it.
Oh, no, I will watch it again. So, listen, please.
So definitely. And so now we only have 2 more episodes. So
we have 2 more episodes. And I know next week I'm going to be so upset. Upset.
Yeah.
But we're going to get through that. It is 8:44.
So last thing. So I think because of all the other stuff that's going on in this show, I don't think that George is dead. Or if he is, somehow George is going to come back. And even if he's not going to come back like he's around for the rest of whatever, he's going to be around long enough that Tick finds out that George is his father.
So, yeah.
Because somehow it's going to have to come out, because we still never have, there was no reason, unlike this whole equinox thing when Christina wants to do her ritual, the original Sons of Adam featuring Fitz, I keep calling him Fitz,
right?
From Scandal.
Yeah,
they weren't waiting on any specific date. So why hadn't they done?
Oh my God, hi, listen, funniest bitch on the planet, and I say bitch in a very loving way. Jai Leo, baby, I'm gonna need to get you a block and a bottle of water and let you do a flash dance moment again on a block dancing inside of a club. I'll tell you about that later.
Okay, but they never did give an adequate explanation of why Montrose was still alive, because they weren't waiting on some specific date.
Right.
So why had they already tried to perform that ritual with Montrose? The reason is because that George and Montrose aren't descendants of whatever that slave is. It's
the mother,
the woman, and that if the woman is the one who's the descendant, then what that means. Ooh, sorry.
Listen, I don't do spiders, and bitch, yes,
he literally just sat the mouse on it like I don't have to touch.
It's underneath the bottom.
So if Montrose is still alive, what that says to me is that I just can't believe you did that. What that says to me is
me or that damn spider. And bitch, I love me more.
The mother is the descendant of the slave, and they're thinking that it's the mother, it's the woman that was what am I trying to say? No. Well, I don't know what I'm saying.
But it's the mother that carries all the information that Atticus needs, and it's the mother side of the family, not George's side of the family.
Exactly.
Right. So,
exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
I got that. That's why he's trying to find the book, because they feel like the mother side of the family has the book of names.
Right.
So,
what we may also find out, because there's always a reason for something.
But there's
also a Montrose. Montrose beat his son, one, because he was gay, but also because he was beat. And they would never remember when they were having their heart to heart as George was dying. Montrose might not be whoever their father is, George and whatever father. He might know that Montrose is not his child, so that's why Montrose isn't. Because Montrose, what is their name? What is their last name? Atticus Freeman.
Okay,
Atticus is not a blood Freeman, meaning that. From the slave to whomever,
right,
to George to Atticus. But Montrose it skipped over Atticus because Atticus is not actually a Freeman.
But I also believe that Letty is involved in this in some way, shape, or form, like her bloodline, their mother. I believe that their mother is involved in this in some way, shape, or form. I just haven't quite put it together yet.
Yeah.
But I very well could be wrong.
All right. So
the presidential debate is coming up at 9:00. It is 8:47. But this is the one thing I'm going to talk about. The night starts at 9, and it's going to be on CNN or whatever. Here's 5 things I want you to pay attention to for the vice presidential debate tonight. There's going to be the distance and the plexiglass barriers. Democrats are going to question why the contest was even happening, particularly given Pence's proximity to those who have recently tested positive. So let's just keep that in mind.
Pence, as late as this afternoon, was fighting it. Fighting the plexiglass. And listen, if I would have been calm, I'd be like, "Girl, there's a plexiglass, so this isn't happening."
Plexiglass was not happening. Like that's what.
Let's just be clear. There is no circumstance.
Because everybody in your camp,
right? You got it. I mean, you don't got it, but your mama got it. Everybody, and plus, I don't believe you hoes.
Yeah, and I don't believe that you. I don't believe that you don't have it at this particular point. But that's a whole nother story. So even
if I believe that you don't have it, too many people in your orbit that you come around
have been exposed.
And if you don't have it, what does that say about your relationship to the president?
We're gonna dash over that.
But anyway, point 2.
Speaking of that, Harris's challenge on coronavirus. So for Harris, the challenge is to use this massive stage and draw a line clear enough for anyone to see and impossible to ignore, from Trump's handling of the pandemic as president to the growing fiasco inside his administration that we were just talking about. The fact that they got corona and everything. So she must do this while the president's own prognosis remains unknown. So he is tested positive. We don't know what's going to happen to him. We don't know how that's even going to work out. We're going to be hopeful that the Simpsons prophecy doesn't come true because of this. So I guess I can say that. But she's going to have to do this while the president's own prognosis remains unknown, like I said. And even if, as Biden said on Monday night, his infection is largely a result of his own refusal to follow standard safety procedures. So that's something that she's definitely going to have to use in this debate tonight. Pence is going to need to remain calm. Listen, we saw Donald Trump and we saw that epic meltdown that he did on television. It was just a mess. And so his goal for tonight's debate is going to project a calm that Trump was unable to do last week while defending the administration's handling of the pandemic and deliver the Trump's campaign message that the virus should not dominate American life. So that's going to be an issue. That's something he's going to have to do. Harris is going to need to face the ghost of policies passed. So here's the thing. Harris entered the Democratic presidential primary as a supporter of Medicare for all and the National Health Insurance Plan written and championed by her competitors, Bernie Sanders. By the time she dropped out in December 2019, she had rolled back her support and unveiled her own plan, which called for transitioning to a government-run program over 10 years, but allowing private insurers to participate. Now, she is making the case for Biden and his proposal to beef up the Affordable Care Act and create a public option on top of it. So she has that back and forth thing going on. She's going to have to face possibly. And lastly, it's about unanswered questions. In the last debate, Biden wouldn't directly answer a question about whether he would support the increasing of the number of justices on the Supreme Court. He's also not giving a yes or no answer to whether he would support, if the Democrats win the control of the Senate, abolishing the filibuster, which is something that has helped and has hurt at times. Trump couldn't get answers from Biden, but Pence might try to press Harris on those questions as he tries to argue that the Biden-Harris ticket is beholden to the Democratic Party progressive wing, which has sought changes. Pence, meanwhile, could have to address Trump's seesawing tweets about the stimulus. And so we just got to figure that out. So those are the 5 things that I want you to kind of think about in this debate, and more so for both. I can't say more so for Kamala, but for both of the participants to think about tonight as they debate and try to have a successful, adult, clearly defined, answer questions, calm with demeanor type of debate. So we shall see what happens, but it's going to come on in 8 minutes, and we shall see how that goes. So did you want to add something else to that? I'm sorry.
Other than the fact that, polling shows Joe Biden with a double-digit lead in overall and in most battleground states. But yes, I mean, things could happen, but when you dive deeper into the polls, most people have made up their minds. There are very few undecided voters. So for me, the outcome of this debate will be that, particularly for the Democrats, they will be buoyed up in their feelings about where this election is going to go. And there are very few people who are undecided. People have already, chosen where they're going to go. So no one's going to be like, yeah, I heard something today that's going to make me change my mind, or I've been on the fence and now I'm going to make a decision. Well,
but then there are those that there is that population that is still undecided, and it's not that it's a large population, but it's enough to have an impact on the election. And the other part of that is it's the popular vote versus the electoral vote. There is still a chance that Donald could win. And I'm trying to be as objective as I possibly can about that. I would hope not, but we will see come November 3rd or November 10th, depending on what states have the 6, 7, 8 days of mail-in ballot stuff, but we shall see.
Well, all right. So why don't y'all get into these messages and we will join you on the other side.
Yeah, so give us a couple minutes. We'll come right back.
Oh, my God. He's alive. Thank God.
Who?
Cornelius. I've been texting Cornelius like...
Bitch. Where's he at? Is he okay?
He just texted me, said, hey, hun, how have you been? And I was like, is he in jail again? Is he sick? Because, he had COVID. And I was like, did he have a relapse?
I didn't know he had COVID. Okay.
Yeah, but he was fine. I mean,
Okay.
he was a little sick, but he wasn't.
Okay.
He wasn't even like Donald Trump sick. He never even went to the hospital. But
okay.
He had like. All right, kids. Thank you all for coming out. It has been a pleasure to see you again. We're going to wrap this up a little bit early so we can refill our drinks and get ready for this debate and be ready to talk about it next week.
Yeah. So listen, you all can spend your time with us spend your day any way you want. And during this coronavirus and these times, we appreciate you spending time with us. And especially tonight for the election, we want to make sure you guys have not tonight for the election, tonight for the debate. We want to make sure you guys have enough time to tune in and actually get ready for the possible showdown. And so get your popcorn ready, and you guys have about 5 minutes to get yourself situated. So take a bathroom break, go adjust your hair, because if you're going to do a live broadcast, you need to make sure everything's all right. But other than that, we had a good time and we had a blast as always. Next week is going to be our regular schedule. We're going to be starting back up at 8:00.
Yep.
But thank you guys for this special edition, and we appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out.
All right. Thank you all for coming out. God bless you and good night. Mwah.